Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys, and happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Alex. How you doing? Hey, Skip.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Fabulous.
I've been noticing lately here as we start the show, my debate partner across the table is no longer wearing ties.
I knew it.
If you can't beat them, you join them. Right?
No,
yeah, somebody just gave up on ties.
It's hard putting on a tie by itself. I think I might go
by yourself.
Yeah, I might go back to when I was a little boy for Easter and get one of them old clip-ons.
I used to have some of those.
It's like every day's casual Friday.
Yeah.
State of mind.
I feel better like this. I feel like I can just get down and get dirty instead of having to take off my tie and debate you, beat you down.
Here we go.
Well, let's get right to it because in ESPN's latest positional rankings, Ezekiel Elliott came in as the third overall running back behind Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. One anonymous offensive coach, though, who ranked Zeke 11th, said the running back had, quote, very few breakout runs, doesn't look as strong anymore, feels like he's about 60 to 70% of what he was. And Zeke responded on Twitter saying whoever said that quote was, quote, faded. So, Shannon, were the coach's quotes inbounds or out of bounds?
Low-key faded.
Maybe this guy was high-key faded, right?
Skip, that's his opinion, but I don't agree with those opinions because the fact is, Skip, Zeke still ran for 1,350 yards on averaging 4.5 yards a carry, and people act like he stepped off a cliff. I'm not surprised that Saquon and C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, are in front of him because I told you, Skip, they're more explosive. You don't like Saquon because Saquon to go 1 yard, 80 yards, and you look at the
and
end
then back to 1 yard, 1 yard, 2 yards, 1 yard.
And then you look at the end of the day, he got 18 carries for $150, and you like, well, he had just had one run of 80 yards. Christian McCaffrey is a guy that you've seen him go 50, 60 yards. Skip, I think the thing is that a lot of people, mainly you're clouded by what you saw at Ohio State. You saw him, especially his sophomore season, when he put together an all-time great, 6 games, especially those last.
Real quick, it was the last 4.
Yeah.
It was Michigan. Then it was Big Ten Championship, Wisconsin. Then it was your man,
Nick Saban, Alabama.
And then it was Oregon in the championship game, and it goes 121, 220. No, 121 against Michigan.
Okay.
121 against Michigan, 220 in the Big Ten Championship. 230 against Alabama and 246 against Oregon. And I have never seen anything like that since the guy we're going to have on the show a little later today, Eric Dickerson.
And you're probably not going to see that again from Zeke as he's getting as he starts to age, Skip. And you have to understand a running back.
Yep.
He's taking those licks. But Skip, when I look at Zeke is more of a 5-6 yard. So Zeke will get you 1. He'll get you 5. He'll get you 2. He'll get you 8. He'll get you 6. He'll get you 10. The likelihood of you seeing him breaking off a 70, 80-yard run, that's not his game, Skip. That's not who he is. But let me tell you how rare what Zeke did last year is. In the 100-year history of the National Football League, Zeke did something that only 2 other men have done. He rushed for 1,350 yards at least on a team in which the quarterback threw for over 4,900 yards. Le'Veon Bell did it in 2014, and Marshall Faulk did it twice in 2000 and 2001. Let that sink in.
And what was the team's record?
In 2001, you remember went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Patriots.
Okay.
Marshall
Faulk, yeah.
Yeah, 2014. I'm not sure. That might have been the year. I think they went to the playoff that year. Skip. Pittsburgh went to the playoff that year.
Yeah. What was Dallas's record?
8-8.
Thank you.
But here's the thing, Skip. Zeke led the NFL in carries in the first half. He was 14th, 15th in the second half. So what is that telling you? They were controlling, they were in the game in the first half. All of a sudden, they fall behind. They have to take the ball out of his belly, and they're throw. I think the biggest thing that's harmed, that forced us to look at Zeke differently, is that the offense has transitioned. Because it went from Dak averaging, throwing for 3,300, 3,500 yards, all of a sudden he's throwing for almost 5,000 yards. And you see how rare it is for someone to rush for that many yards and have the quarterback throw for that many yards, Skip. Zeke is still, if you look at Zeke, his first 3 years, he averaged 4.6 yards a carry.
Yep.
10 yards, he had a 10-yard rush every 7.9 attempts, so a little under 8. Last year, he averaged 4.5 yards a carry, 10 yards rush every 7.9 attempts. So when you look at it, Skip, He's right there where he is. The only difference is Dak has increased his throwing ability. He's become better at that. The offense, they fall behind, Skip. It's kind of hard to run the football when you're down 28, when you're down 17. You saw that last year. Made you upset, made me happy. I get to come here every Sunday and gloat. I love that. Every Monday morning, excuse me. So, Skip, I don't think Zeke is 60, 70% of what he was. I think Zeke, the offense is transitioning, and they're relying more on Dak. And if you're going to give Dak $35, $40 million, guess what, Skip? You're going to take the ball even more out of Zeke's belly because you're not paying the guy. They didn't pay Pat Mahomes $45 million to turn around and hand the ball off 30 times a game. You know that, I know that. So, Skip, I disagree with what this coach or whomever it was that said this. I don't think Zeke is 60, 70% of what he once was. I think Zeke is just fine. I think the offense is transitioned.
Okay. I can't tell you how much it pains me to admit I don't agree with anything you just said. I wish I could. I still love my man Zeke. I want to love him a lot more than I loved him last year. His little picture still sits on my nightstand, as you saw in the commercial that we made 2 years ago. But he was not Ezekiel Elliott last year to my eye. I'm going step back, take away, eye test. That's what I'm just saying. What did your that little voice inside in the back of your head, what did it tell you? It told me he's just not the same. He doesn't look right. I don't know if he came back too late to get in peak game shape and it took him too long to really hit his physical peak. I don't know if he got his money and rested on his laurels a little too much. It's that sort of fat cat syndrome. You get paid, you think you're the man, and then you're not driven the way you used to. He used to run the way Terrell Owens used to catch it and run in San Francisco in those days when he just ran angry, after catch.
Absolutely.
And Zeke ran angry, especially as a rookie. And then this happened. He averaged 109 yards a game as a rookie, and I was just breathtaken by it. It was special. It allowed me to come in here every Monday and say, did you see that?
Right.
And that, and that, and that. And Dak and Zeke complemented each other beautifully, and Dak was the offensive rookie of the year as a rookie, fourth-round pick. Okay, then what happened? Next year, second year, he averaged 98 yards a game. Then the next year, it fell just a little bit to 96, and last year it fell to 85. So 4 straight years, we have seen a steady, not a perilous, but a steady drop in Zeke's yards per game. 109 as a rookie, 85 last year. That's a little scary to me. So now to your point, to your stats that you had. This hasn't happened. This has happened only twice before in NFL history. That's a terribly misleading statistic as it pertained to the Dallas Cowboys, which is why I asked you, what was their record? It was 8-8. It wasn't the how many yards for the quarterback and the running back. It was the when yards. How did they come? I'm going to use my favorite or least favorite stat, however you want to look at it, glass half full, half empty, from last year. Ezekiel Elliott had the second most carries in the entire league on first down. Second most carries. His yards per rush on first down last year ranked 19th in the league. So do 2 plus 2. What does it equal? It equals 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. You're playing behind the chains. I don't know how many times I sat in my little man cave with the door shut so Ernestine didn't have to hear all the foul language coming out of my mouth and yelling at my TV, not again, no. Zeke 0, Zeke -1. And again, you bring up a very good point. There's a lack of creativity. They just turned and handed the ball to him. It was either under center in the shotgun. They just said, here, take it up the gut, find a hole, make a hole. You're that guy. You just got paid 6 years, $90 million. You're the man. Go find a hole. If it's not there, make it. And he couldn't, and he couldn't, and he couldn't. And that led to first half deficits such as 31-3 against the Green Bay Packers. And then obviously it led to what you called empty calorie passing yards by Dak in the second half. He would fight valiantly to bring them back. But to your point, maybe defenses are a little laying back off, and maybe
Just don't give him the big
giving
play.
you, maybe they're giving you the underneath, and he's taking a lot of underneath, and it's starting to add up to big yards in the second half. So I look at what happened last year was the breakaways. Again, that's the big point of this.
Right.
That he had only 4 rushes that broke for more than 20 yards. Well, that ranked 23rd in the league. Well, that's not my man. You know, he ran 4.4, so he used to have some. I know he's not a speed demon, but 4.4 at 225-ish, it'll work.
Yes.
And I haven't seen 4.4. And now I look back at what happened with that contract. What did I tell you? He came from Cabo. He came back. He got his money. He got paid. And then I told you all year, it looked like he was still running in Cabo sand.
Okay.
Why do you think – I'm going to give you one major underlying psychological reason that Dak Prescott is about to have to play under the tag. It's because Jerry is looking at what he did for Zeke and thinking, did I make a huge mistake there? Did I completely overpay him? Will he never be able to repay me what I paid him? Because it's a lot. It was, at that point, #1 running back money. It's $15 million a year, and then they gave C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, your little nephew, that they gave him $16 million a year. But he did it a little smarter. He got only 4 years, $64. Zeke went out to 6 years, $90. But the guaranteed money is much higher. It's 50 to 38. And I know that it's tricky because some of it is not really guaranteed. But the guarantees in Zeke's were up to 50. They're called practical guarantees, and only 38 for Christian McCaffrey. So whatever, they're both very big deals. But at the time, they gave Zeke the most money of any running back in the league. Now it's sticking in Jerry's craw. He's saying, I just don't know if I want to commit far more money to my quarterback because I blew this one. I think he's fearing I blew it. Now, okay, I loved it that Zeke responded to this on Twitter. And it was funny. It did make me chuckle about this guy must be faded. Well, what doesn't make me chuckle was that Zeke left his live stream on, when it was last week, and said, man, I'm low-key faded here. Well, not a great look for Zeke and the Dallas Cowboys. So at least he was making a joke about it, LOL. But also he was responding. So, okay, show me. Is that going to drive you? You're going to play with a chip on your shoulder pads this year? I hope so. But Shannon, in the end, I mostly agree that he looked 60 to 70% of what I saw as a rookie. And certainly I do get haunted because I have the vision of him at the end of his sophomore year. That was dominating and devastating. And I know it was college football, but it was college football at the highest levels. Michigan, Big Ten championship, then national semi, national final. Okay, but he was spectacularly quick, fast, and powerful all together. And he could make you miss. And now I'm not seeing enough of that. So will he bounce back? Will we ever see a rookie year? Will we see a 109 a game?
Skip,
I hope so.
But here's the thing. If you look at it, over his first 3 years, he averaged 22 carries a game. Last year, he averaged 19 carries a game.
Okay, so well, that happened. He got them early, and then they finally had to abandon.
But even then, he's still 3 carries per game less on average. So you project that over 16 games. That's 48. So you're talking about 200, let's just say that's 250 yards. 250 yards tacked on to 1350. Now you're looking at him totally different because that's the exact same thing he got his rookie year.
I need them early as opposed to late, though, because he can't get them. It doesn't matter late. You're going to abandon him late.
Okay, but
we need him to pile up first half yards and take games over.
But Skip, most of the time, great power running backs, they get their yards in the second half after they worn you down. Well, if you're behind,
you got to wear them in the first half.
If you're behind, you're not wearing anybody down. They're wearing your butt out. But also, if you look, his 109, his rookie year, how many yards was Dak passing for per game? Dak is at 300 yards per game passing now. He was nowhere near that. Remember, because we came here now and said, oh, yes, Skip, another game under 200 for your guy, Dink and Dak. Remember, we used to have that conversation. So now, all of a sudden, the offense's transition is more Dak-friendly. Dak is throwing the ball. Now, I don't know if they made that transition voluntarily, or maybe they fell behind and it's okay, Zeke, we got to abandon you. but we got to put the ball in Dak Prescott's hand. But when you throw for 4,900 yards, Skip, there's only so many yards to go around.
Yep.
It's not like they're averaging 500 yards a game offense. So there's only so many yards to go around once you divvy it up. So when you look at Zeke, I don't think Zeke is 60, 70%. I still believe Zeke can be that guy. Do I believe would I take him over C-Mac and Saquon? No. I think Saquon is more explosive, just not more durable.
Okay.
I believe C-Mac is a more explosive and equally as durable, if not more durable.
Okay.
Plus, he can catch better than Zeke.
All right, I got it.
I like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, by the way, Zeke's catching fell way off last year.
It did. But I think that had to do with Pollard also, Skip. They brought Pollard in to help. But I like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is getting those same runs at Alabama. Remember, Skip, he's getting 60, 70 yards, and guess what he's doing? And you don't think a man that size, as big as he is going to be able to go the distance. He has a 99-yard run on his resume. He got an 80-yarder, 90-yarder, and we saw what he did down the stretch last year.
What did you tell me? You went to a game in Denver?
We played we were playing the Titans, and when I was up there rooting for
the Jets. Yeah, rooting against my Cowboys. As my man Amari checked out.
And I'm standing on the field, and I'm looking at Derrick Henry, and I'm looking at me. I look at Derrick Henry, I look at me. I say, ain't no way in hell that man's 240 pounds.
He is a huge human being.
He is huge. He looks like a D lineman. So he's probably 6'3.5", 6'4", probably 260.
Okay.
So for me, Skip, I just think if the Cowboys could get more creative, and we're going to see, you say you like Mike McCarthy. He's a made man. We know what he's done.
Yep.
So if they can get more creative on first down, so Zeke all of a sudden is just not running into. You see Kyle Shanahan? You see all the plays that he come up with on first down. Skip, they running the ball. But it might be Deebo Samuel.
It's motion. It's just people are going everywhere. It's just people flying everywhere. And all of a sudden, oh, he's got the ball.
Right. So you have to have some creativity.
Yep.
Forget that 3 yards in a cloud of dust, just turn around. This ain't Michigan, Skip. You know, Michigan, Ohio State back in the 70s and 80s when they just turn around and hand it off. That's not what this is.
So back to this list and back to the point you just made about Derrick Henry. If I'm just going eye test, gut feeling, what I saw, and I watched a whole lot of NFL football last year. Coming off last year, my top 2 running backs in my ranking are Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. I'm sorry, just to my eye test. Nick Chubb just ran wild on people for another team that was struggling to throw the football. But every time they handed him the football, not good things happened, great things happened. He was dominating, and Derrick Henry was absolutely unstoppable down the stretch. If you look at his last 6 games, Derrick Henry, once he got going, in his first 9 games, he only had one 100-yard-plus game.
But you see, they changed.
There we go. Okay, they changed quarterbacks, and then defenses started getting worn down over the year also, as well as over the game, over the year.
Later in the season,
they're just getting battered, and the deeper you get into a 16-game season, they're like, I don't want to have to tackle him anymore, and especially, obviously, in the second half. So he averaged 149 yards a game in the last 6 games. That last do-or-die game they had to win at Houston, he had 211 yards. And you saw him in the playoffs. You saw him against Lamar and company.
They were winning games when they was throwing 7 passes.
Yeah. Okay. So to me, he took over the top spot.
Right.
And Nick Chubb, I'm not going to discount. I know they didn't have a great year as a team, but he was spectacular. Yeah. Now,
that's
to
Fred
your
K's
man,
fault. He should have had more yards than that.
There you go. Now to Saquon. He's such a great kid. We've had him on the show. And so I'm not saying I root against him, but there is some reason why that football team with him for 2 years is a combined 8-21. And I know they're not a very good football team. I don't see transcendent, take the game over kind of a player. I do see box office. If you'll be patient, if you'll hang with all those 0 and 1 yard runs, every game he's going to give you 1, maybe 2. But I told you the stat. If you just subtract his longest run as a rookie and his longest run in his second year, as a rookie, if you add up all the other carries per game, he averaged 49 yards per game. As a second-year man, he averaged 50 yards a game if you subtract his longest run.
Right.
Well, he'll hit a home run. He does hit a home run. But you can usually, as the opposition, overcome the home run because he's not going to establish the run the way Derrick Henry does. He's not going to wear you down and out.
Right.
Because you have to be careful, mindful. But tackle him. Make sure you wrap him up. He's going to get loose, but it's not that hard to tackle him between the tackles. He does not destroy you between the tackles.
He's more elusive than Zeke,
Yep.
and I believe he has more home run speed than Zeke.
Okay.
Because he gets a crease skip. You saw him last year against Philly.
Yep.
He bounced the ball outside, and he got to the edge, and he was 40 yards from the end zone. He's peace. I'm
He's
gone.
out. Yep.
He was gone. Skip, I think the thing is, and plus you have to understand now, you look at these guys, just imagine, their offense is not like the Cowboys. Just imagine if they had the Cowboys' offensive line.
Yep.
So that's a whole different.
I agree with that.
That if you put Saquon behind the Cowboys' offensive line, you think he's just going to have those 1-2 big plays? Saquon's going to get 4, 6.
I don't know. Zeke had those. I mean, Zeke was a lot of -1s last year.
Put Derrick Henry.
But you come to the point where that Cowboy line, who underachieved last year, got their golden tails kicked too many times, such as at New Orleans, where they just got whipped at the line of scrimmage all night long. They're better pass blockers than run blockers to me at this stage, because they all start to age a little bit.
Yes.
You know, there's some injury decay across the front. Now they don't have the center.
They've done a lot of banging over the last 4 years. Because Zeke Elliott's run the ball a lot, even though, his totals have come down, he's still 1,300, 1,600 1 year, 1,500. I mean, Zeke led the league flat out for 2 of his first 4 years. And he was on pace to do it again had he not missed those 6 games. So 3 of his first 4 years, he easily could have led the league in rushing. But, Skip, I think the thing is that the Cowboys, in order for them to get maximum effort, they can't fall behind by 14. They can't fall behind because they basically take one aspect of their game away, and that's Zeke Elliott. I still believe Zeke is a top running back. I would take Derrick Henry out, the other 2 guys in Derrick Henry. Chubb, if you Chubb and say, okay, Shannon, you got to take Chubb instead of Zeke, I wouldn't be upset at that. I wouldn't either. I still believe Zeke is a top 5 running back, and if used properly, he still can go get you 1,500.
So here's the bottom line to this ranking and evaluation. It points out that Zeke still came very close to winning the top spot. The votes were very close. He fell barely to 3rd, but he was very close to being 1st. And one talent evaluator is quoted early in his little capsule here on Zeke as saying probably the best natural traits, speed, power, balance, are Zeke. I give you that. I got you. I just need to see it in action. Fruition, show me results. Again, he's just turning 25 now. So, I mean, all these guys, I think Derrick Henry was the oldest at 26. But all these guys are fairly young. Yep, they are.
But I think the thing is that you mentioned his time. Zeke doesn't play like he ran. When you look at 4-4, you're expecting to see Saquon, you're expecting to see C-Mac. That they hit a crease and go.
Your eyes don't show you 4-4. Right. But he did time that.
He timed 4-4. He did. He ran that time.
And Emmitt Smith timed 4-6, just for the record.
He did.
And he's got the most yards ever.
But Skip, the thing that set Emmitt apart, you put Emmitt inside the 5, Emmitt getting the ball in the end zone.
I don't know how, but he just did.
He getting the ball in. Hey,
I agree.
He didn't need Siri to tell him where to go. He's getting the ball in the end zone.
North Turner used to tell me quickness in a confined space.
He was unbelievable.
No mercy.
As teams begin to arrive in the NBA bubble in Orlando, LeBron tweeted that it was hard to leave his family and compared it to going to prison. Damian Lillard had a similar comparison, tweeting that it felt like he was going to do a bid. So, Shannon, are these comparisons inbounds or out of bounds?
The biggest thing is people do not like when you compare sports to real life situations. Man, we go into war. Skip, just my life flashed before my eyes. You're in a sporting event. No, it didn't. People don't like life or death. They don't like actual situations when you equate it to sports. Skip, but I get what he was saying. He's saying, I'm leaving my family. Skip, I don't know if you have anybody that's ever done any time, but I have homeboys. They tell me, sometimes they'll allow them to get their affairs in order because you're going away. Well, LeBron's like, I got to get my affairs in order. I'm leaving my family 2-3 months, hopefully. Dame Lillard said the same thing. I'm kissing my family goodbye. The likelihood they're probably not going to, he has I think he has a young son, and they're probably not going to be able, his mom and his family not going to be able to get down into the bubble. So I understand the correlation. Skip, and another thing, people will get like, man, I would love, but you can't. The hardest thing for a person that works a 9 to 5 is to understand on a nightly basis, these guys stay in 4- and 5-star hotels. When they pay for their own, when they go on their own, Skip, they're staying in $5,000-$10,000 a night rooms. They go stay here. Yeah, that's down for them. For the common folk, I would love that. But it would be the equivalent. You go to Disney. Disney, you know, obviously it has to be family friendly, Skip. There's not going to be a whole lot of Ritz-Carlton in 4 Seasons when you got a family of 4 trying to pay $500-$600 a night for a room.
True.
So you have to take that into account. But if it's a person, you go stay, normally you stay at $119 or $199 room, and all of a sudden you go and they leave the lights on for you, and you bring your own sheets and towels. That's a whole different ball game. So you have to understand. But if people don't have, they can't contextualize that. Because they're used to staying where they stay, and then all of a sudden these athletes like, ain't no way I would ever stay. LeBron James would never stay there. If he was going to take his kids to Disney, Skip, he's going to rent a house for probably about $20,000 a month, and he's going to stay there for a couple of days, and he's going to dip. So the accommodation for these guys is so out of the ordinary, like, we got to stay here. But I saw the room service menu in the restaurants that they're going to be able to get delivery from, they're going to be straight. They got Del Frisco's, they got Morton's, they got the Palms, they got Joe's Crab Shack.
I got it.
Yeah, so they're going to be all right, Skip. And in fact, you know, Del Frisco's, Skip, get that Del salad with that bacon and that avocado dressing, swinging.
They got one not too far from you.
They do.
Yep.
They know Shay. When Shay come to town and let Mr. Sharpe, we do have that Wagyu for you. We have it at 8, 10, 12 ounces. Yeah, so they know me, Skip. Going up there, you and Ernestine going up there. Tell them Shay.
Somebody gave us a gift certificate for Christmas to go there. Somebody near me right now.
You used it already?
Yeah, absolutely we used it.
So, Skip, look.
It's a great place.
It is. Skip, I just think the thing is that this is different for these guys. I mean, they used to go in somewhere, Skip, you're in there for the night, boom, you flying to the next city or you flying back home the next day. But all of a sudden now, ain't no more flying, ain't no more, you know, none of this right there, and you're in the same room. Man, LeBron used to get the penthouse, the presidential suite, and now he's like here in college. he probably got a roommate and everything. So Skip,
I don't think he has a roommate.
He got a roommate. So, but I just think the thing is, Skip, is that the general public don't want to hear when you equate sporting events to life or death situations, to actual going to war, doing prison bids and things like that. But I understand the correlation. I'm leaving my family, and this is something that's unknown because normally they leave their family and they come back in a day or two.
Okay, I will give you that much. But in the big picture, this just rubs me the wrong way. I have so much respect for that man as the leader of this league. He's the face of the NBA. He's obviously the most popular and most influential figure in the entire, well not just in the NBA, in sports. Am I missing him? No, in sports, he is. You're better than that. We don't need a prison or jail analogy, because you're not going to prison. You've never been to prison. So as much as you've heard and read about what it's like.
It's worse.
It's worse.
It is.
So now in this same week, we had LeBron post, war ready. Don't go there. You're better than that because you haven't been to war. And a lot of people have who are going to read this. And they're just going to shake their head and say, you have no idea.
Right.
And a lot of people who have been to prison or in prison are going to read this and say, what are you doing? Okay, you're going to be away from your family and your loved ones for an extended period, the longest period of your life by far.
Right.
But obviously, I'm going to go to the nth degree here. I'm going to exaggerate this. Obviously, LeBron doesn't have to worry about getting violated in the shower in the bubble, right?
No.
He doesn't have to worry about an opponent carrying a shiv in his shorts, right? No, he does not have to worry about that.
Right.
And on the flip side of that, he is going to get treated like a king by a Disney staff. They're maybe the best in the world at creature comforts, at making you happy in a very happy place. Happiest place on earth, as they want to call it. And this is 24-hour waiting on the NBA players hand and foot, whatever you need, whatever you want. You are confined to the bubble, but inside the bubble, You got fishing ponds. You can play golf. LeBron's not a golfer, but if you do play golf, you can play. You got every video game known to man to play.
And some that's not even known to man.
So, not even on. You got all kinds of five-star restaurants.
Yeah,
You're in a brand new hotel, and I'm not going to call it five-star, but it's very good. It's a star. It's a Grand Destino Tower. It's the tower within the Coronado part of the resort. But he'll get the penthouse.
He should.
Well, we should. You're right. And the view will be pretty spectacular because you can see all of Epcot, and then that tower is surrounded by, they're obviously man-made lakes, but they're beautiful lakes. Right. And you have a beautiful view of all the water around your tower. It's not all bad. And now you get to go back to your AAU days when you got to go just play basketball. It's the game you love. It's your whole life. It's what you eat, sleep, and breathe for is basketball. And so you're going to get to obsess with basketball for the next, 3-odd months.
Yep.
If you go all the way to the finish, which they have a
Game 7 will be October 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. And you can play basketball almost, you're going to have a game pretty close to almost every day, it's going to feel like AAU days.
Right.
And you can hang with the fellas.
Right.
That's going to be your life. It's not the worst life. It's not your life that you got used to, that you got spoiled by. But come on, LeBron, you got to grow up a little bit and say, as the leader of this league, you got to say, this isn't all bad.
What are athletes? Most of the athletes that you've ever been around, what do they preach? Routine, routine, routine. Now this man, the routine that he's developed over 17 years, all of a sudden, I mean, think about it. You do something one way for 17 years. Now all of a sudden they said, nah, we're going to do it this way for the next 3 months.
Okay, but what if I take away all your air travel that you're probably starting to despise in year 17?
I think the thing is, Skip, for me, LeBron James and guys that have significant others and wives, they got those people for a reason in their lives. They like coming home, having a family. He liked coming home and reason to serve. Zuri. He likes coming home and asking Bronny and Bryce, how was your day? Now there's none of that. Dame literally got a small child, so he wants to be around that.
But you can FaceTime. You can.
But that ain't the same thing.
But you're going to have to make do with that. I got your routine, but your routine can be greater than ever because you can go all basketball with no distractions. There's a downside to that, and you know and I know there is when you come home and Savannah's saying, oh, the refrigerator broke or whatever, and after a while you say, just leave me alone with that. You take care of that.
Well, you got that kind of bread, Savannah don't even run up by no refrigerator. He just come home like, damn, that's a new fridge? Like, yeah, baby. And the other one went out, so we got a new one. That's how that worked. The air conditioner go out, go get a new HVAC.
Bronny made a D in history. I don't know. Come on.
Boy, I'm coming home.
Okay.
I'm going to have a deal with you. Bring a deal. You know we don't bring no A's home.
Okay. All right. But it's distractions, family distractions. Well, it is. This can be like basketball heaven. I sure wish that somebody would interrupt Tom Brady's routine, the one that he's enjoyed over the last 20 years, and I would see if you'll be so applicable. All right. We'll talk about that in a few minutes here on this show. But Rondo even posted today a video, I think it was just a still shot of his room, and called it a Motel 6 room. I don't know. It doesn't look like Motel 6 to me, and I stayed in a whole lot of Motel 6s when I was growing up. I know what they are. Yeah. And I frankly thought they were not bad.
When we ran track, we stayed like Days Inn with our,
Days Inn.
La Quinta.
Not bad. Not bad.
La Quinta, senior boys and past.
Not all bad.
Nah.
Okay, and then I got to get this out of my system, off my chest. I still can't get it. Why LeBron James, the best role model in all of sports, he just will not back off. He has to curse publicly.
What did he say?
I get it. Well, he used the SH word right in the middle of this tweet. SH felt like I'm headed to do a bid, man, for real.
Is it shucks?
Okay, so he's trying to speak on Twitter the way he would speak off Twitter, right? Okay, and that's fine. But you're that guy. You got I Promise in Akron. You got all those kids looking up to you. You got 3 kids at home looking up to you. And if Daddy's going to just curse openly on Twitter...
Yeah, people do that.
Well, then Bronny's going to say, well...
Did your father curse?
Did he curse? I don't know. I didn't know him that well.
Did your mom?
No, never.
Well, my grandfather cursed.
They didn't at home, but see, I don't know what they did away. Maybe they did away from me. I never heard them curse.
I don't know how they do it, but I'm just saying in my household, what my grandmother or my grandfather said.
Yeah.
The thing, repeat what you heard? What?
Well, you wouldn't get away with it.
What? It didn't even cross my mind that I could say what I heard, how they talk. So, Skip, look, LeBron is human. That's what, and I think that's the biggest mistake that people make, is that when you look at an athlete, you forget he's human, just like me. He probably cursed. He probably drank. You see, these athletes, well, he shouldn't drink, he shouldn't smoke, he shouldn't do this, he shouldn't drive, he shouldn't do that. They're human. They're going to make mistakes. They're fat. They have flaws. It's okay, Skip. I mean, he said, hey, they wasn't the end of the world.
Okay, but when you post on social, you have time to think it through. It's not going to just spill out of your mouth, right?
Yeah, he's like, this mofo, like I'm going to do it. He got that watch on, that's my watch right there. I think he broke in my house and got it.
Yeah, I don't know. He wishes he had your money.
No, man, LeBron woke up. If LeBron woke up in my shoes, he's like, Savannah, I can't take this no more. No. You don't want my money.
All right, guys, we're sticking with the NBA because LeBron James and Kevin Durant have both received a lot of criticisms for their decisions during free agency. LeBron for the decision when he left Cleveland for Miami, and Durant when he left the Thunder for the Warriors. Now, J.J. Redick said he believes the root of most of the criticism stems from racism. Redick said, quote, I think an underlying reason for the reaction to Kevin and LeBron making those decisions is because people were uncomfortable with powerful black men making a decision for themselves. I really believe that. Shannon, do you agree?
I agree with it a lot, Skip. And there's no way to definitively to say otherwise unless we get Luka Doncic. And I think he would be the closest, the equivalent of a white player all of a sudden going somewhere else. Because we've never seen, Skip, we've never had a white player on the caliber of a LeBron or a KD. It would basically need to be Larry Bird would need to come back, be Larry Bird.
I mean, that's the problem. There's never been a Larry Bird since Larry Bird.
And that's the thing, Skip. Okay. So we would need to, or a Dirk Nowitzki that would have left, that would leave. Skip, we need a superstar. We need a superstar white guy to go and face criticism. Tom Brady didn't get no criticism. What? His contract was up. LeBron James' contract was up. Kevin Durant's contract was up. They did not force a trade. They don't say, get me out of here or I'm not coming, or I'm going to make things uncomfortable.
Yes, but everybody knows Belichick tried to dump him in 2017, so he was being pushed out the back door.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And that happens a lot. Since sports have been in existence, they've been able to trade players, and fans never get upset with an organization for trading a player like they do when a player requests a trade or leaves after free agency. Skip, and I agree with JJ. Skip, this is different. Since America came to be, blacks really haven't had rights and been able to choose their own path. So this is not new. Jack Johnson was one of the first ones, Skip, that the establishment couldn't control, and they had a problem with. You look at Dr. King. You're not supposed to be able to have that kind of power. Malcolm X, you're not supposed to be able to have that kind of power. We got a problem with it. So we're upset. I do believe JJ hit the nail right on the head. I do believe there was something to that. And you look at Daniel Gilbert's statement. Just imagine, Skip, how many people you think change jobs within the course of a year? And just imagine if you change jobs, your boss takes out a full-page ad in the newspaper and say, that's such and such computer programmer, think he all that. We got 15 computer programmers better than him right now. And he will never be the same computer programmer that he was here that he was somewhere else.
Said he quit against Boston, and he said, check the tape.
Yeah, and how many times he showed up late for work? How many times there was a project that we needed that he failed to deliver on?
Okay.
That didn't happen. Well, something's going on here that when black men have the opportunity to choose their own path, their own destination, it upsets a lot of people, and I don't know why, because these guys had fulfilled their obligation tenfold. No matter what you think about them individually, they had fulfilled their obligation. Daniel Gilbert's wealth. What was that organization worth before LeBron got there, and what was it worth while he was playing? So Kevin Durant with OKC. So for me, Skip, I never got the reaction. I don't understand. Fans got to understand. I get it. You go cheer, but you don't own the player. The player has the right that he can choose if he wants to leave, or he can stay if he chooses that also. Don't get upset because someone leaves.
Okay. You could be right. JJ could be right. The truth is, I don't even know how to quantify that.
Right.
It's just your gut feeling.
Right.
That's what you sort of suspect.
Right.
Was operating beneath the surface,
Yes.
just barely beneath the surface. I got you. I can only speak for me. Not for 1 second when LeBron decided to go to Miami, and he did so on live national TV in what's called The Decision.
Right.
Not for 1 second did I, as a white man, think, how dare that black man try to control the narrative and control sports? How dare you can call me a liar if you want, and you'll be wrong, because not 1 second did I think
rational, though.
Okay, but when Kevin Durant left Russell Westbrook to join forces with the Golden State Warriors, who had just beat his butt after he had them down 3-1,
Right.
not for 1 second did I think, how dare this black man try to wield that kind of power? I knew too much. He was sick and tired of playing basketball with Russ because Russ was the primary decision maker, and Russ dribbled it up the court every time and said, I think I want to shoot it this time. And Kevin decided I can't win a championship with him. And Kevin decided I'm going to go join that team because I'm about to enter my 10th year in this league and I am ringless.
Right.
And not only did he join them, he elevated them because they had just lost to LeBron after holding a 3-1 lead.
Correct.
And you told me Draymond went into the parking lot and called KD in tears.
Yep, with a towel on.
Come save us.
Yep.
With a towel on in the parking
Yep.
lot. And Kevin saved them because he was the MVP of back-to-back finals. So, yeah, he joined forces, but then he rose above the forces and led them back to the promised land twice in a row. And when all is said and done, Kevin Durant will look back in 20 years, and everybody who knows Kevin Durant will forget about the circumstance of how he won those rings. They'll just say, Kevin's got 2 rings. Maybe he'll win a couple more in New Jersey. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm sorry, in Brooklyn. But the point is that not 1 second did I think about that. And why didn't I think about that? Let me give you 3 quick examples that I think you'll be able to appreciate. I'm older, so I grew up in a different era. But I grew up in an era in which black men in sports wielded their power. I grew up a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. And when I first fell in love with the Cardinals, because I was in Oklahoma City and we could get them on KMOX, 50,000 watts out of St. Louis, which just reverberated through the Midwestern part of the country. So every night I would listen to the Cardinal games on radio. My favorite player by far in the early years was a center fielder named Curt Flood. Do you remember Curt Flood?
I do.
7 times a Gold Glover. My Cardinals won the championship, beat the Yankees in '64, beat the Red Sox in '67, lost to Mickey Lolich and the Tigers in '68, but it was Curt Flood was a star on that team. And in 1969, the Cardinals traded him to the Phillies, and he said, I'm not going. He said, if you're going to send me there, I'm going to sue you. And he sued the commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, because he had no power to stop this trade, and he thought that was un-American. This black man from Houston, Texas, named Curt Flood, who didn't even go to college, but was smart and powerful, said, I defy this system. I'm going to beat you at your own game. And he destroyed what was called the reserve clause and opened the floodgates for free agency. This is Curt Flood in 1969. And one of his big reasons for not going to Philadelphia, he said, it's a lousy ballpark and a lousy team, number one, but those fans are racist, he said. I don't want to go play for those fans because I've been there too many times when they have yelled the N-word at me. So I don't want to go there. He changed the face of sports. That's the first time we had free agency in any sport.
What did it cost him?
It cost him his job. He sacrificed, I mean, his livelihood. Yes, he had to sacrifice his career. But he goes down in my history book, man, as a trailblazer, as a crusader.
But, you know, also working in your favor, Skip? You say when you got into the business in the newspaper industry, you was out here in L.A., but you also went to Chicago.
I did.
You also went to Dallas.
I went to Miami.
You went to San Francisco. So you understand about being able.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won a championship with Oscar Robertson at the end of his career in Milwaukee in 1972. And then Kareem said, you know what? I don't belong here. My value system is really, it's not Midwestern. I'm from Power Memorial High School in New York City.
He wanted to go to the Knicks.
He did want to go to the Knicks, but also to the Lakers because he matriculated at college at UCLA.
UCLA, correct.
You say the most dominant college basketball player ever.
Hands down.
Wanted to go back to L.A. And he somehow forced a trade from Milwaukee to Los Angeles. I was in awe of it because I still, to this day, do not understand it. And the players that Milwaukee got back, starting with Junior Bridgman and who are some of these, Dave Myers, they're just guys. None of them made an all-star team. It's the most lopsided trade in sports history to me, given the fact that Kareem became the leading scorer in the history of the league and won 5 more championships with the Lakers.
Was it more lopsided than the Herschel Walker trade?
Yes. Well, it was because
you got Emmett.
Okay, I know, but it's Kareem. I got him ranked 4th on my all-time list. The leading scorer.
He won 6 MVPs.
What I'm saying is, you look at, he made 13 more all-star teams, so he was a dominating player. He was beyond anything that involved the Cowboys to me. Okay, so the point is, he did that. That's a black man wielding power, and that leads me to one of the greatest players who ever played your sport, and his name was Jim Brown in Cleveland. And he went, in 9 years, he led the league in rushing 8 times. He was almost untackleable in those days.
He was.
And he got sideways, crossways with the Browns in his negotiation.
Art Modell.
Bingo. And you know what he said? I'll walk on you. I'll just leave. I'll quit.
Well, Skip, this, how it happened was he was doing a movie.
Okay.
And Art said, you need to be back here or else. So Jim... Mr. Brown chose else.
Mr. Brown.
But that was Art trying to control him, said, you get back here or else. Well, normally when you give a person the opportunity to say, you do this or else, a lot of people are going to choose else. And that's what he chose. And he never played another down.
He never played. He was 29 years of age. And he went on, again, you might not call these great movies, but he became a convincing leading man in Hollywood. Dirty Dozen, he didn't play lead in that, but then 100 Rifles with Raquel Welch. In Dark of the Sun, I don't know if you remember that, or Tick, Tick, Tick. He became a very powerful actor to me who would captivate. He would just take over the screen. That's off at age 29, walking away from the National Football. That was a power move. That was an all-time boss move to me as a kid as I'm growing up. So my point to you is, when LeBron said, I'm going to go on national TV to announce my decision, it wasn't trailblazing. It wasn't like no one's ever seized the narrative like that. Yeah, they have. It's happened several times before.
I think the thing was, Skip, it would have been interesting to see if we'd had social media, if we'd had the entities to see how they handled Jim walking away, Kurt Flood walking away. But the fans, when the Cardinals traded him, Mr. Bush traded him, and they tried to trade him, the fans didn't get upset. They didn't burn nothing.
I don't remember, because I was too young to sort of figure that out.
Yeah, so that was the thing.
Okay, but LeBron was leaving his area. And remember, I told you, PR-wise, he didn't handle it well, because during his announcement to Jim Gray, he did not thank the Cleveland fans because he was mad at the owner, and he let it affect his mood on national TV.
Skip, I mean, there are a lot of times that when you change jobs, you didn't tell anybody. You didn't tell anybody you were leaving?
Okay, but he's from there. It's his home area.
See?
And you feel like you're leaving them. You know, they felt like, you're going to betray us and go to Miami?
See? We feel like we own a part of this. You need to tell us what your move going to be. Nah. How many people at work, you working next to Dave? You're not telling Dave, man, I'm thinking about bouncing up on here because you worry about Dave telling somebody. You don't tell nobody your move. And so the thing is that now all of a sudden the narrative is, hold up, we got power. How them uppity you know what? You making this amount of money. You do this. We made you. It's always that. We made you.
Shannon, you do have power, but you've had power for a long time. You have been the majority in all these sports for many, many years.
Yeah, but Skip, we've had power. Yes, we didn't realize how much until recently. But the thing is that, Skip, we don't own, it's not like we own things that say, you know what? If they don't want to do it, we can go over here and do it. That's not how it works.
Yeah, so to your point and JJ's point, I know he's as caught up in Black Lives Matter as some black people are. So he's trying to do his part to say, You white people are racist for the way you reacted to LeBron and KD.
Yes, not all. I don't think. But I think JJ has a very unique perspective, Skip, as a white guy that's been in the league as long as he has, and to hear some of the things that be said to some of the black players that never get said to the white players. So what's that about?
He would hear that.
Yes. So I'm sure JJ is talking. JJ is speaking from a point of being around. I don't know if he's ever played with KD, but he played with Chris Paul. He's played with some very good players.
He has.
And so he has an opportunity to hear things and to witness things that you or I, we're not privy to because we don't follow the NBA on a daily basis. We're not in the arenas to hear what's being said.
Yeah, and just another quick point on JJ. Has any college player ever experienced more verbal abuse than he did at Duke? He was the most hated man in college basketball. And in every ACC rival arena,
everybody was the most hated player at Duke. It started with Christian Laettner.
It did.
So he started it, but he played that role.
Bobby Hurley.
And then you got him and Walt.
Yeah.
The only player that's been beloved, really, at Duke is Zion.
We're going to talk about him in just a couple of minutes.
He was beloved.
Yep.
Even Grant Hill called some flack.
And even today, he might not be quite as beloved at Duke, but we'll talk about it.
No mercy.
According to court documents, Zion Williamson's stepfather received a $400,000 payment from a marketing agent before he went to play for Duke. Zion's lawyer has since responded, saying the accusations are not true and the documents filed are false. So, Shannon, what is your reaction to this?
Skip, I can believe it. This happens all the time. I don't know why people are surprised. Let me tell you why people are surprised. Because it's Duke. Let somebody level this against Coach Cal at Kentucky. Let someone allege this against Bill Self at Kansas. That happened. That's it.
Well, he's under fire as we speak.
Thank you. But because it's Coach K, because it's Duke, that would never happen. Stop. You're not getting all these. Every year, the same handful of teams get the top 5, 6, 7 recruits year after year after year. And they're just doing it. Why? And the guy, he's only staying long enough. He's going for the same reason Shannon Sharpe with this for eligibility purposes. But only difference is I needed to stay eligible for 4 years. They need to stay eligible for 4 months. They're no closer to getting a degree to hang on their wall than when they arrived. So stop this notion. Oh, they went there for the education. Really? How close you think Zion to get a degree? Kyrie from getting a degree. RJ Barrett from getting a degree. Them guys stay in 1 year and they bouncing. The same thing with Karl Anthony Towns, AD, and all those guys that went to Kentucky. So stop this notion. I'm mad, though. I'm mad he only got $400,000. Do you know how much money Zion Williamson put in Duke's athletic budget?
I agree with that.
Man, he should have got $3-4 million.
I agree.
Man, if I'm going out of blazing glory. Hey, you gonna talk about my parents got something? Oh, yeah. Like LeBron said, if I was going to Ohio State, me and my mama weren't gonna be living in no apartment anymore. I don't care. I wish he'd have got $5 million. The only problem that I have, Skip, if Zion Williamson signed a document to sign with this marketing company, he should honor that agreement. That's all I'm saying. Hey, I don't care how much you took. He could have got $10 million for all I care. But if you sign it, don't renege. You know, you take the money, you blow up, and then all of a sudden you want them to be out of the money that they gave you because they gave it to you. If that's the case, Skip, to sign with their organization. That's my only problem. I ain't got no problem with him taking the money. Hell, I wish he'd have got $4 million instead of $400,000.
I hear you, which is why I have a hard time working up any outrage over this.
Yeah.
Usually in these cases where there's a little smoke, there's a lot of fire.
Right.
So do I believe something went on? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Has it been proven in court? Not yet.
No.
Because the attorney for Zion is calling this fraudulent, that this is all fake, that it was forged, because there's a signature page in which you see his signature on it, and he printed his name.
Right.
And then he had to put his driver's license to it, and we see a picture of his driver's license in the year in which he was at Duke, or actually going into the year when he was at Duke, okay? And they are saying these are forgeries, okay? So I don't know what to believe, but just for people to understand what is happening here, there's a woman named Gina Ford. Her company is called Prime Marketing Sports. She signed Zion before he went to Duke.
Or she thought she did.
She did for a little while.
Right.
But college rules allow Zion to get out from under those kinds of deals just to protect the kids if they so choose. And he decided after he started to become a big national star. I belong at CAA.
Correct. Excuse me, correct.
And he used that loophole in the college rules to get out from under this deal to sign with CAA. She is obviously very angry about this.
Yeah.
She is trying to prove in court that he should have been disqualified as a college player, so the rules shouldn't have applied to her, because he shouldn't have even been allowed to play at Duke because he had taken money.
And if he's taking money, he's not an amateur.
Yeah.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. And by the way, she also alleges he accepted housing provided by a Duke alumnus and 3 luxury cars while he was at Duke. Well, those are other things that would pile onto this. Is it possible that in the end, Duke will be forced to forfeit the Zion games, all the Zion? It's possible. Will anybody really care? I don't think so. It doesn't look great for Duke. It doesn't look great for Zion. But in the end, I think we all believe they should be paid anyway. So to me, if he took money, he broke a bad rule. Okay? Right?
Because if you think about it, Skip, Zion Williamson, that 1 year at Duke, how much would he have made off his image and likeness? I guarantee it'd have been more than $400,000.
It'd been, what'd you say, 4 million?
Yeah.
Let's go much higher than that.
So she was about to try to get him on the cheap. Like I said, I'm not upset. Skip it. This happens. It's going on as we speak, and it should. I don't get mad at no player for accepting any benefits because you should.
Are you going to think any less of Zion?
Hell no.
Forward? No.
I think less of it because he didn't get more money. I wish he'd got. She should have made. Look, give me $1 million. And them cars good. I hope one of them was a Ferrari. Skip, this is look. There's a story that said Herschel Walker was coming out. He was the #1 recruit coming out, and they said I think Danny Ford was at Clemson. It said Danny Ford called Vince Dooley and said, they said, Vince, now if you don't tell the NCAA, we won't tell the NCAA that you put gas in that boy's car if you don't tell them we bought it for him. So, Skip, this has been going on for a long time. Chip Banks came out of Augusta. He was wanted to go to a school. He told him, his mom needed a new refrigerator. They bought the refrigerator. They said, well, how did he end up at USC? They put the refrigerator in the house they built for him. So, Skip, this is nothing new. So I ain't mad at Zion. You want me to get upset. Oh, Zion, how could you do that? You know the rules, and?
Okay. Obviously, Zion, up to this point, has a reputation as almost being like a cartoon superhero, right? So some people will say, God, he took money to go to Duke.
Yeah, he should have.
Okay, he should have. Maybe some people will think a little less of him, but I think it will be quickly forgotten. And I think Duke, I would be shocked if they suffered any NCAA penalties.
It's Duke.
It's Duke.
Because, Skip, you know, I mean, when you think of Duke, you think of the prestige, and it costs you, what, $60 grand a year to go there, and the medical and everything. Oh, Duke, prestige. So you don't believe in Coach K. Coach K has a pristine resume. Coached the Olympics. He's won, what, 5 national titles. Many think he's the first or second best college coach of all time behind Coach Wooden. So nobody's going to believe that. Man, Coach K wouldn't do that. Dude, why would he do that at Duke? But I don't care.
And he has plausible deniability because he could just say, I had no idea.
I didn't give him no money.
Of this. Right.
But everybody else, they say, Bill Self, you lack institutional control. If you didn't know, you should have known. That's what they tell Coach K.
That's what they say. And Bill Self is firing back at them. Okay.
No mercy.
UFC 251 is headlined by Jorge Masvidal stepping in at the last minute to take on welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. The reigning champ feels confident heading into the fight, calling Masvidal weak-minded and saying that he doesn't have faith in him. So, Shannon, who wins this fight?
Yep, I'm taking Usman only slightly. But I do believe Masvidal has an advantage because Usman was preparing to fight Gilbert Burns, who's a different type of fighter than what Masvidal is.
Got it.
The question that I have is that how deep in training with Masvidal, but he did take this fight on very short notice. Now, he says he's been in the gym, was going to the gym 2-3 times a week, but how intense was that training? Usman carries the pace, and he can go deep into the round. So can Masvidal go 5-minute rounds? That's what's going to be asked because the title is on the line of this. And Usman, I don't know, people don't know, but he's for real. He's legit, Skip. He ran through Kobe Covington. He doing all that talking, you know, he's a MAGA guy, Trump, he's supporting him, and Usman ran through him. He ran through Tyron Woodley, Dos Anjos, carried him. So he legit. But Masvidal, for some reason, he's found new faith, new confidence, and he got hands of dynamite. But I hope he doesn't think that's Nate Diaz that he's going in the ring with, because Usman is legit. So I'm going to take Usman in this fight because I don't know. If it goes the distance, if it goes past a couple of rounds, Usman is a decided advantage. But I think Masvidal is going to try to take him out early.
He better. I am with you on this, and I start with that picture we see right there on the wall behind us. Take a look at that man on the left. He is a much bigger man than Masvidal is. Usman, I read the other day, he walks around at 190-ish, and they're going to fight at 170?
Yes.
Okay? So he is considerably bigger than he is.
Yes.
And I feel sorry for this man because I root for Masvidal. He's the closest thing we have to Conor McGregor.
Yes.
He will say just about anything to hype a fight. And it's funny and it's entertaining, and he's entertaining in the octagon. He's fun to watch. I am going to watch this, but I am going to fear for him because it took him to age 35 to get his first title fight, and he got it sort of by accident, by COVID accident.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, COVID interrupted another thing that we got going in sports. And on the very shortest of notices, Dana White said, well, the fans wanted this one anyway. Jorge, you want to do it?
Right.
Yeah, I'll do it. Well, then you're going to have to fly to Vegas to get tested. Then you're going to have to fly all the way halfway around the world to Abu Dhabi to Fight Island. And you're going to have to keep getting tested.
And then you got to quarantine again.
Yeah. And it's hard because you haven't been training.
Right.
When I heard Masvidal say the other day, I've been going to the gym a couple times a week.
Right.
A couple of times a week? That guy lives in the gym.
Yeah.
And the fight you're about to enter is going to be a gym kind of fight where you better be ready to go the distance because this guy can take you the distance. I do agree with all you said about Gilbert Burns. That was going to be a ground battle that the two of them were preparing for. This guy wants to grapple. This guy wants to, again, Usman wants to take you down.
Yeah.
The only hope and advantage that Masvidal has, he is a dangerous striker.
Yes.
His striking is like his personality. He can strike from long distance.
He's swinging for the fences.
He's swinging for the fences, and he has one-shot knockout power. So if he could catch him one time, one good early time, and either hurt him or deck him, maybe he's got a shot.
Right.
But other than that, to your point, if this grinds on and he starts to take him down, whoo.
Yeah, Skip, when you look at him, I mean, he's won 15 straight fight, Usman, 11-0 since joining the UFC. I mean, we don't normally see guys. You got to go back. You got to think about Anderson Silva that won this many consecutive fights. You got to go George St. Pierre or Johnny Jones. Skip, we don't normally see guys string together a stretch like this. Because unlike boxing, Dana White doesn't allow you to pick and choose. You ain't finna get rich fighting bums in that sport. You're going to fight the best of the best, and somebody clips you, and guess what? You 15-1 or you're 15-2. So
wait, did you just say Floyd Mayweather got rich fighting bums?
No.
I think you suggested that.
In boxing, you see, it's not. And now, I mean, since Floyd, he controlled his own fights. It wasn't like Leonard was fighting Hearn, fighting Duran, fighting Hagler, fighting all those guys. Kept back then, the heavyweights, they fought everybody.
Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman, Ali Norton, Ali name them.
Yes.
He took them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it wasn't the number one contender now. And see, there's only one belt. There's only one UFC belt per division. So it ain't nowhere. I got the WBA, you got the WBC, the WBO, the WBA. Ain't none of all that stuff, Skip. You got one belt. And you want it, come get it. And Dana White's like, nah, ain't none of that. If that's the fight the fans want to see, because, Skip, the fight that we wanted to see prime Pacquiao, prime Mayweather. But we got that, we believe, past their prime, or at least 5 years later than what we really cared for.
I'll buy that.
So, but in the UFC, nah. If it's a fight, that thing gonna happen. Let the fans, whatever the fight may be, soon there's gonna be enough pressure that Johnny Jones is gonna have to move up to heavyweight and fight Ngannou.
Yep.
Hey, that's the fight. They don't make it happen.
So Masvidal has had to wait the second longest of any man or woman in UFC to get his first title shot.
Right.
35 years of age, little to no real training, and here we go.
He just fight.
You better just go out there and let it fly.
Yeah.
And hope you connect one early shot.
I was watching his story and how he kind of started. He got it started in Miami in these backyard fights, like Kimbo Slice.
He did.
And so basically, I mean, he fights.
He's a brawler.
You know, ain't no skipping all that, technical side. You know, you look at Johnny Jones. Johnny Jones can strike.
Yeah.
He can take you down because he's a wrestler. This kid was a NCAA wrestler also. So they got, they can take you down. He fights.
Yep.
That's what he does. He fights. He's a fighter.
It's a great contrast of
It
styles.
is.
Great.
But Usman, for the most part, he's been able to get anybody he wanted to get him on the ground. He's been able to do it.
I hope it doesn't turn into Khabib and Conor. Remember how that ended?
Yeah, he got him on the ground and just kept him on the ground for the longest.
And then just choked him out. God.
I think Usman gonna want to punish him though, Skip.
He will.
That's the easy way.
Especially after he said he's going to break his face.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to baptize him and decapitate him. I hope it didn't the other way around.
All I know is I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah.
Well, they literally just did weigh-ins. They both made weight, so they are good to go. Fight Island is on, you guys. Woo!
No mercy.
Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston is saying we have falsely been labeling Tom Brady as the GOAT. While he admitted that Brady is the best quarterback ever, he dubbed Jerry Rice as a true football GOAT. Curran pointed out that when Rice retired, he held 38 NFL records and had averaged 77 receptions for his 20-year career. So, Shannon, do you agree?
I guess here's the thing. Everybody's been taking pot shots at your guy, Tom Brady. First it was Randy Moss for like 4 days straight, and now it's Tom Curran who's been in. And Tom Curran and I, we haven't agreed on much, but I agree on this one. But Skip, I've said this: if you let me write the oral argument, I can make the very compelling case for two people, and that's Jerry Rice and Lawrence Taylor, as the best players to ever play in the NFL, because Lawrence Taylor made two positions famous. If you did not have a left tackle, you could not beat the Giants and you could not represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So he made Washington go Jacoby and the Jim Lachey's, and he made you go get a Gary Zimmerman, and he made you get a Wallace for San Francisco and the Irv Eatman. You had to have that or you couldn't beat him. And now you see everybody's like, well, hold on. Not only do we need a left tackle, can we find somebody? Can we get a Derek Thomas or Cornelius Bennett, a Von Miller, Khalil Mack, a T.J. Watt? All these guys was because of 5'6" at the Giants. And I just keep telling you, I don't even really know what to say about Jerry. Because what he did, Skip, Jerry was a guy, not only could he get deep, but Jerry was one of the first guys that could take a 5-yard route and turn it into an 80-yard spectacular. Because in the true West Coast, it's all about getting the ball in the guy's hands and running after the catch. And you look at the guys that played, I'm talking about the really good receivers that played in the West Coast. Jerry, my brother, T.O., all of them could do what? Run after catch. They ran angry. And for me, Skip, I don't think anybody's going to touch his records. I don't see anybody getting 22,000 yards. I don't see that 197 receiving touchdown, Skip. That ain't happening. It's over. Forget it. Let that sink in. Who's still playing? Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is like 70 touchdowns away. Skip, he's never going to get it. He's like 8,000 yards away. He's never going to get it. So for me, Tom Curran is right. I can make the argument for either one, but if he says Jerry, I won't fight him. If he just said Lawrence Taylor, I wouldn't have fought him. I just will fight you if you say you know who.
The links you will go to.
I ain't going nowhere.
To discredit Tom Brady's goatness. The links you will reach for to undercut him, to demean his football reputation, to try to make the silly case that he's not the GOAT. Of the case you just made, I will give you Lawrence Taylor before I'll give you Jerry Rice. Because Lawrence Taylor did not play a dependent position. He wreaked havoc from the other side of the ball. He was virtually unblockable.
He was.
He destroyed entire offenses. So I'll give you at least that it's a viable argument. But with Jerry Rice, as much I know Jerry very well, I have nothing but awe and respect for him, but I feel like it's beneath my dignity to have to stoop to even do this argument with you because it's not even close. It's not even an argument.
Yeah.
Jerry won how many MVPs? None. He won one Super Bowl MVP that was a little fraudulent.
How?
Because the votes had to be in with about a minute left in the game. That's the way the NFL had to do business in those days. I was sitting right there in the press box watching this in Miami, early 1989. Bengals, Super Bowl 23, great number. And Jerry had 200 and some yards.
Yeah, I think he had 206, something like that.
And yet, votes are in, and Joe Montana throws a last-second touchdown pass to the other receiver, John Taylor, to win the football game. Joe should have been that MVP the way he was the MVPs of his other Super Bowls. Shannon, you know this better than anybody on this planet. That position, as was yours, is a dependent position. It is far, far, far harder to take the snap, to read the defense, to avoid the onrushers and try to keep your eyes upfield, to find the most open target and to throw that target a catchable pass, an accurate catchable pass. It's far, far, far harder to do that than to catch that pass. I'm sorry, you're disqualified by the very position you play if you're giving me Jerry Rice versus Tom Brady.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, for me is that I value guys that are not as protected. You know, Tom Brady, every snap, he has 5 guys protecting him, sometimes 6 or 7. Jerry didn't have that.
Okay, but he also has 5 guys trying to knock him down.
Yeah,
okay.
But Jerry, how many Jerry got? What you think? Just imagine if Jerry says, you know what? I'm going to catch this ball, but I got a tight end down the field that's going to block the safety before he hits me. Or I'm going to have another receiver on the other side that's going to block. That's what Tom Brady had, Skip. And you look at Jerry, now imagine, Skip, Jerry put up the lion's share of his yards in a running league. Jerry's offense, his first 5 years, they were top 10 in rushing.
It was revolutionary. It was invented by his head coach.
Yes.
The great Bill Walsh. I think he's the greatest coach ever.
And
he picked Jerry.
He did.
Stole
he stole
Jerry
it.
because he didn't run fast.
He did.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Skip, when Jerry had 22 receiving touchdowns in 1987, they led the league in rushing.
Yep.
Name a team. So whoever led the league, so what do you think the likelihood of a receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, because they led the league in rushing, what do you think the likelihood of them having a receiver that leads the league in touchdown receptions and while leading the league in rushing? Because that's what he did. He did that.
He was great at what he did. You can argue he was the all-time greatest, though I always argue Michael Irvin, because Michael had an intangible Jerry has never had. Jerry was more of a follower than a leader. Michael was the driving force, the leader of teams that should have won maybe 5 straight Super Bowls if Jimmy and Jerry had been able to stay together. Michael, I was there. He was the epicenter of that locker room. And I know he had his issues off the field, but he could lead on the field, locker room, sideline, huddle, the way no receiver to me has ever led a football team.
You do know Jerry got 750 more catches.
Okay, I got that.
He has 11,000 more yards. He has 130 touchdowns more.
Okay, those were definitely running Cowboy teams with Emmitt Smith, who is the all-time leading rusher.
Yes.
But in the end, all you need to know is that Brady has won 3 MVPs to Jerry's 0.
Jerry got two offensive players of the year, I think.
Okay, but on MVPs, the guy who dominates the league, Jerry doesn't have a chance to win that award.
Right.
Okay, so Tom Brady, in 20 years in Foxborough, played in 9 Super Bowls and won 6 of them. 6 out of 9. Jerry won 3 Super Bowls in 4 tries.
Yep.
Okay, it's very good. I'll even give you great. This is all-time greatest. This is Tom Brady, who never had a superstar receiver except for a glimpse of Randy Moss in 2007. It was really only 07, and he had Gronkowski. I will give you those 2. But other than that, he's done it with a lot of nothing. And meanwhile, Jerry Rice, and again, it's a dependent position, so you're a product of the creator is the quarterback, and he got to play with Joe Montana and Steve Young, Hall of Famers, for a coach who, again, to me, was the greatest ever, greatest offensive mind, and the greatest picker of players that I've ever seen was Bill Walsh.
Right.
So he was right place, right time, and he was great, all-time great at what he did, but what he did does not measure up to Brady's position as the quarterback and the leader in the locker room of a Patriot way culture in which the coach was a tyrant. The coach was a sarcastic, verbally abusing dictator.
We tried to win, right?
Okay, I got it. But it took Tom Brady in the locker room saying, hey, guys, it's just the way he is. We're going to be okay. Tom Brady was the buffer between the tyrant and a bunch of players who often wanted to revolt against the tyrant because you can't talk to me like that in practice or film session. It's okay, said Tom Brady. We're going to win in spite of. And they won. They got to 9 Super Bowls in 20 years.
Well, he became that. He wasn't always like that.
No, but
he didn't talk to LT like that.
Okay. Who did? No, Belichick.
Belichick. Hell no.
No, but once he failed in Cleveland, was failing in New England, and once Brady fell out of his heaven into his lap out of the 6th round, and they won 1 Super Bowl, more because of their defense and the offense, Napoleon took over.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens, Skip, because once you win that title, Skip, once you have a Super Bowl behind your resume, it's almost like, okay, whatever he says is gospel. It's kind of like a quarterback that has that Super Bowl. When Peyton Manning goes to Denver, they realize what Kurt Warner goes to Arizona. That's instant credibility. So any coach, obviously, Mike McCarthy now is in Dallas. He has instant credibility, Skip, because he has that Lombardi. And after you've been in the league and you haven't won it, you realize how hard it is, and he has won. Coach Belichick has 6. So how does anybody go to New England and not listen to what he has to say? Okay.
My final point to you is this. Tom Brady still does not get enough credit for winning 6 rings with 6 game-winning drives. Montana's Super Bowls, except for that last one, were huge blowouts.
Well, he had a game. He had a game-winning. No, he had a game-winning drive in the first one and the second, both against Cincinnati, with game-winning drives. Except Miami, he blew Miami out the water, and they blew
Denver. It was a complete wipeout.
That was before I got there. I would have made things different.
I got it. I appreciate that. Tom Brady has never benefited from a Super Bowl blowout. He had to go win it fairly late to very late in all those games, and he pulled off game-winning drives 6 times in 6 championships. Had pulled off another game-winning drive in the first Eli Super Bowl, and it got canceled by Eli going 83 yards.
That's a great luxury to have, to know you're not going to be in a shootout. And the one time he was in a shootout, what happened? He caught the L. Well, he had to turn into a shootout, Carolina, because there was no scoring, Skip, in the first quarter. And then all of a sudden...
Was it 32-29?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, couldn't nobody stop anybody.
Yeah, but again, Brady set the all-time playoff passing record of 505 yards and put up 33 points and lost 41-33 to the backup quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, while Belichick...
Well, that disqualifies it. You can't lose to a backup.
But
you
wait a second.
can't lose to a backup in Eli.
Coach Napoleon somehow doghoused Malcolm Butler for the entire game after he led the defense in snaps played. I don't know what happened.
Help me understand.
Mysterious. Felt a little sabotage.
Social media, I need y'all to help me understand. Because when we talked about The Last Dance for like 2 weeks, and Skip said Michael Jordan was trying to motivate the guys, being tough, being difficult on them, being condescending, saying things, call them all out their names. Well, he's trying to win. Coach Belichick is, he's Napoleonic. He's a tyrant. He's a dictator. Wasn't he trying to win? They got the same results, got the same many titles, and he did it over a longer term. But one guy you like, Michael Jordan, the other guy you dislike, his way is wrong, but the other guy's right, even though they did it the exact same way, got the same results.
Bill Belichick played lacrosse at a Division III school. D3.
Skip.
Played lacrosse.
He wasn't playing.
Okay.
He was coaching. All I'm saying is the tactics that Michael Jordan used to motivate the guys, Coach Belichick used those same tactics.
Michael could all-time back it up.
He could too.
How?
With that defense.
He could back it up because he had 12 playing quarterback.
He had that defense.
Yeah, that who validated him was 12.
Willie McGinnis. Willie McGinnis is the all-time sack leader in playoff history. Ty Law getting pick sixes left and right. Vrabel catching Look at that.
Brady, game-winning drive, game-winning drive. Here we go again.
How do you get a game-winning drive if your defense give up 45? So Coach Belichick defense keeps them in every game, and then Tom does what he does. Okay.
That's goatness to me, and that is case closed. Thank you.
No mercy.
Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie's film company just announced the release of their latest documentary. It has been 3 years in the making and is titled The Meaning of Hitler. This was announced yesterday after earlier this week, Eagles receiver DeSean Jackson faced criticism for a social media post that included a quote that was attributed to Hitler. So, Skip, what do you make of the timing of this?
First of all, Mr. Sharpe, I could not make this up. Seriously. Step back. Wait a second. Wait, we just heard that DeSean Jackson posted a quote that he attributed incorrectly to Hitler.
Right.
That came off as very anti-Semitic.
Correct.
As the owner, who is Jewish, of the Philadelphia Eagles, is wrapping up a documentary through his production company called The Meaning of Hitler. I couldn't make that up. I couldn't sell it here in Hollywood.
Took over 3 years in 9 countries.
Okay, and it just happened to be wrapping right now. I can't. This is even beyond. I thought the Kelly Loeffler situation with the Atlanta Dream was preposterous. It couldn't happen.
Right.
In Atlanta, Georgia, this is happening.
Right.
She's the co-owner of that team, and she's going to run for a senator. It can't happen.
Right.
But it did.
It did.
And this did happen.
Right.
I believe it was no coincidence that got announced yesterday.
Right.
I believe they sped up the announcement because of what happened, number one, to capitalize on all the attention that wrongly DeSean drew to Adolf Hitler.
Correct.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of people, a lot of younger people, they're not even sure who Adolf Hitler was,
That is
right?
correct. Yes.
And so all of a sudden, Jeffrey Lurie's saying, let's announce right now that we have just wrapped. We're ready to show this to the world. He's had production companies that have done other documentaries, one on Wall Street that won an Academy Award.
It was unbelievable.
Okay.
Matt Damon.
Woo.
It's great. I watched it about 5 times, Skip.
Okay. So I'm sure he's also very proud of this one because this is dear to his heart.
Correct.
So he wants to capitalize on the attention just to help promote the meaning of Hitler, right?
Yes.
But number two, I believe that he also wanted to speed up this announcement to use it as even more of a teaching moment for DeSean and everybody who doesn't know about Adolf Hitler.
Correct.
And make it sort of educational punishment for DeSean. Almost to sort of rub it in like, here, this is what I've been working on. Let me show you this, DeSean.
Skip, it's kind of like The Last Dance. Okay, you knew who Michael Jordan was, but we're going to show you who he really was.
Good point. I hate to compare Jordan to Hitler, but I got you. I got you. I believe that Jeff Lurie and his GM, Howie Roseman, also Jewish, found themselves in a tricky spot this week because they are Jewish, that if they did go ahead and punish DeSean, I thought he deserved some punishment just to say, no, you can't do that. That's too far. I'm just doing it in a vacuum.
Right.
I don't care what color he is. It's just it's a Jewish thing. It's not a black-white thing. That's just me.
Right.
So if they sit back and say, should we fine him? Should we suspend him? Or should we cut him? In any instance of any punishment, people could say, oh, come on, you're overreacting and you're over-punishing DeSean because you're Jewish and we get it's dear to your heart, but that's unfair to him. So I think they sat back and said, okay, let's just let it lay, but let's go ahead and announce Jeffrey Lurie just wrapped the meaning of Hitler just to drive home the point to DeSean. We are taking this so seriously, and here's the deepest irony of this. What cause is dearest to Jeffrey Lurie's heart? He fights white supremacy. What's the deepest cause in your heart of hearts? What do you despise the most? DeSean or Stephen Jackson. What do you despise the most? Will you share it with your owner?
Absolutely.
White supremacy. Who was the ultimate white supremacist?
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler. It's not even close. He wanted to genocide. He wanted to eliminate an entire group of people from the face of the earth.
Correct.
White supremacist. Again, they were a white But again, that's where he was headed.
Right.
Was toward. I don't want to get too deep. You should watch this because I think it's going to be really great. Yeah. So the point is, I couldn't make this up, but it's almost to the point. It feels like when they premiere this, DeSean may introduce it. It may come to that point, and maybe it will turn into a great learning experience for everyone because it's right on time. Aha! Here's my documentary, DeSean. How much did you enjoy it? And he can introduce it by saying, I learned so much that I should have known before I hit send.
Skip, you're exactly right, because that was my first point. This is an unbelievable teaching moment. Skip, I think the thing is that you think you know, I really like documentaries because every time I watch a documentary, I do find out some things that I didn't actually know about the person. And I thought I knew a lot about different. And Skip, I guess COVID and having Netflix, I watched a lot of documentaries over the last 3-4 months.
I hear.
And I'm like, wow, I didn't really know that about such and such. You know, I'm watching one of The Temptations, and I'm like, damn, Dennis Edwards took over for David Ruffin in the. I'm like, okay, wow, I didn't know that. But Skip, when you look at it, and people, please, all I'm trying to do is say that the younger generation that didn't get an opportunity to see Michael Jordan play, this Last Dance documentary gave you a glimpse into what made him tick, how he came to be, what drove him, what was his passions. It also shed some light that he was a flawed individual. Hitler, so a lot of people, like I said, I don't think, we don't go into real depth with history, Skip, because it's uncomfortable. To know somebody was that devious, that diabolical, that they would kill, literally try to exterminate it between 6 and 10 million people for no other reason.
Yep.
Because we are superior and we want to show you. And Skip, he said, what this documentary hopes to encapsulate was the rise of white supremacy and neo-fascism in the U.S. and the world, and among the most important and serious threats we face. So in other words, domestic terrorism right here. You worried about Al-Qaeda and the jihadists and all that other stuff, the Taliban, right here in America. Jeffrey Lewis said, look, I need to show this because there are so many that think Hitler is dead, but there's so many that have his ideology. And that's what we're going to have to kill in order to preserve what is America. That's the biggest threat. That Jeffrey Lewis and Skip, 3 years, there are very few movies that shoot for that length of time. I mean, normally, you come up with an idea, like, okay, you're right. I've heard people talk and say, it takes about a year. You come up with an idea, it takes you, 6 to 9 months to maybe shoot it, and then another 6 to, this shot over 3 years in 9 countries. So it tells you, Skip, they poured a lot of money into this. They put a lot of time into this, a lot of thought into this. This ain't just something that, let's just put this together. And I like the fact, Skip, this started this is not all of a sudden something rushed. He might have rushed the announcement. I
believe he did.
But they took the time to do this thoroughly. This is going to be a well thought out, a well written, a real piece. And I like it, because I want to see just something about documentaries, because, you get an opportunity, you see old footage and you see things, Skip. For me, I like documentaries even better than movies when they're trying to portray something that's real, because I like to see the old footage. And I don't like to see what he did, so don't get me wrong. But I think I'm going to even learn something. And I think I know a lot about Hitler and what he did. But I think I'm going to even learn something that I didn't know about this clown.
No mercy.
In ESPN's latest positional rankings, Ezekiel Elliott came in as 3rd overall running back behind Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. One anonymous offensive coach who ranked Zeke 11 said the running back had, quote, very few breakout runs, doesn't look as strong anymore, feels like he's about 60 to 70% of what he was. We are now joined by Fox Sports NFL analyst and one of the greatest running backs of all time, Eric Dickerson. Eric, how much truth is in that quote?
I don't think there's any truth in that. And, when I hate the word anonymous. If you're going to say it, say who you are. Just put it out there. I said it, and I mean it. When I look at Zeke, Zeke is still, I think, a great back. I think when you look at the things that has happened, his first season, he had one of the greatest seasons as a rookie ever had. The second greatest, actually, to mine, I got to say. And then, you look at his that football team, that was one of the best football teams in the league that year. I actually thought they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. The next year he had the legal problems, the holdout, and all that stuff that come along with it. So, when you look at all that to go along with it, it's not all about Zeke, because Zeke, I think, is still that same back, but for some reasons, with the holdouts, the legal problems, all that plays a factor. I can think about when I held out in '85. I came back and I was in shape, but and Shannon, you know this, you can't get in football shape. That's the hardest thing. You just cannot get in football shape. And I think one of the big things is the schemes they run. The Cowboys are a run-first football team. They talk about Zeke being 60 to 70%. The schemes are not good running the football. I think losing Bill Callahan was a big no-no. I mean, I look at the Cowboys. If they had Bill Callahan, I really believe that Zeke could put up 16 to 17, possibly 1,800 yards this year, because running the football, and I say this all the time, it's an art. It's not just about lining up and beating the man over you. Sometimes you have those games where you have to look, I've got a game where we just start to slug it out. It's a slugfest. And then you got a new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who's like our Faye. He likes to throw the football. That's just the facts. He wants to throw the football. So I think it's a lot of factors, not just Zeke. But I tell you that, to me, the main thing is, the big no-no to me is Zeke pulling himself out of the game after he has a 20-yard run. I don't like that. Because you watch some of the clips, he leaves the game, they might be on the 10-yard line, all of a sudden they're going in, they're looking strong, and now they settle for a field goal. I can go back I just told this story yesterday. It's been times when we'd run the ball 6-7 times in a row, and I am taking such deep breaths. And you know this, Shannon. If you run down the field, you're going, and also you get that huddle. I just stop breathing. Okay, hand it off again. And I think that to me is one of the drawbacks on Zeke. He can't be taking himself out of football games.
Yeah, because you didn't want nobody else to get them yards. You like, I done ran it out here. I'm getting this ball in the end zone.
I'm getting that touchdown.
Edie, I agree with you, Edie. I don't think Zeke has changed much. I think the offense has changed in the evolution because Dak throws the ball more. Edie, when you were in your prime early in the Rams, you guys probably rushed for more yards than you passed for because that's how it was. But now Zeke is rushing for 1,300 yards. They threw for almost 5,000 yards. There's only two other running backs that's ever enjoyed that type of rush season when the quarterback is thrown for 4,900 yards or more. That's Le'Veon Bell in 2014 and Marshall Faulk in 2000 and 2001. So it's hard. Plus the fact, Edie, if you guys ever fell behind by 14 or 20 points, that took you out of the game because now we got to throw to get back into the ball game. You can't run your way into the game. You can run the clock and take the air out of the ball so the other team doesn't possess it, but you fall behind like the Cowboys were falling behind last year. 28 against Green Bay, 17 at Buffalo. They fall behind all these games, 14 to Minnesota. Skip, you can't run the ball. But if you look at Zeke's numbers are very comparable as far as 10-yard runs, every basically 8 carries. He averages a 10-yard run. His first 3 years was 7.9. Last year was 7.9. He's 4.5 yards per carry, but he's carrying the ball 3 fewer times per game over 16 games, which is 48 carries, 4.5 yards. So you're looking at roughly about 250 yards right there. 250 added on to 1,350, you're looking at 1,600, and nobody's talking.
Nope, right, nobody's talking about that.
My turn. Eric Dickerson, I have told you to your face, I believe you are the greatest running back who ever played in this league. And I want so badly to agree with your opening assessment. You see no drop-off in Ezekiel Elliott. I love my man Zeke. I still have his little picture on my nightstand next to my bed. But I got to tell you, and I'm going to put my name to it. This isn't an anonymous quote. I saw about 70% of the Zeke I saw in his rookie year last year. I never saw quite right. After that holdout came late, as I kept telling Shannon, it looks like he's still running in Cabo sand. And you went down there, Eric, to talk to him, to see him at the resort in Cabo. And and you saw him work out, and you told us you thought he looked pretty good. And when he first got in, and when he first signed, I thought he looked pretty good. And then to both of your points, there's sand shape, there's beach shape, and then there's National Football League shape.
Yeah.
And Eric, to your point, where he just tore my heart out was it Thursday night against Chicago at Chicago? Yeah, it was a Thursday night game.
Yeah, every night.
Okay, so they're at Chicago. They're in the game late in the second quarter, and Zeke busts off his biggest run of the game, one of his biggest runs, I think, of the whole year, 32 yards. And they say, give it to him again. And they hand it to him, and he gets 4 yards. And he gets up out of the pile, and he waves to the sideline. I'm done. I'm gassed. And I just rolled on the floor. I said, and I thought Eric Dickerson. You think Eric Dickerson's taking himself out at that point? He might be heaving in the huddle, but he's going to say, give me the rock because I earned the right to take it home. What are you doing? That felt like fat cat syndrome where you said, I got my money. I got my $90 million. I'm good. I just need to go take a blow. I got to rest a little bit. I'll get him next time. Stop it. So, Eric, in the end, I'm sorry, I didn't see that guy. And here's my favorite stat or my least favorite stat of the year. On first downs last year, Ezekiel Elliott had the second most carries in all of pro football. His average yards per rush on first down ranked 19th. Do the math. Second most carries, 19th best yards per carry on first down. You know what that meant? Second and 11, second and 10, second and 9. You're playing behind the chains. You tried to establish the run, and you failed. And all of a sudden, you're behind. And in the second half, what's going to happen? You're not going to run 21 anymore. You're going to let 4 throw it. And maybe to Shannon's point, he's going to pile up a whole bunch of empty calorie garbage yards. But that's how they played football last year, and I don't want to see it again. I still believe Zeke could be that guy. He just turned 25 years of age. I hope you're right, but I did not see it last year.
Skip, and one thing, and I said this earlier, when the Cowboys, see, people don't understand how important it is for you to have a guy that knows how to run the football, like a Bill Callahan.
Okay.
You know what? And losing Frederick Douglass, you know, that's a big loss. You know, they don't understand when your offensive line is, in a sense, at times a Cowboys offensive line has been kind of decimated, or they're putting a piece here and a piece there. You know, they have one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. You get used to those guys. You go back to Zeke's rookie year, everything was perfect. It really was. And I think people are looking for that again. You think of the Dallas Cowboys, you think of perfection. I mean, I hate to say it, I'm not a Cowboy fan, but you think of everything going right. You know, everything is right in the world when the Cowboys win. The Cowboys run the football, everything is right. It just doesn't work like that all the time. And I agree with you with one thing, like I told you. I don't like when a back takes themselves out of a game in a big situation, because that shows your heart. It really does. It shows that, look, I'm here for my team, and that no matter if I'm sucking air or whatever, it's game time, and I want to be in the game. But you know what? That's not just Zeke. You see that around the league. Almost a lot of players do that. Almost every player throw their hand, hey, I need to come out. And in the old days, Shannon, you know, you didn't do that. No. You came out when you were hurt, you couldn't hardly walk, or maybe you came out for one play, but you're going back in, and that's it. But I still feel like he's the same. Look, if he's the third best back in the National Football League, and I think he's better than that. I mean, I really do. I think he's right. Maybe you could put him 1, 2, you know, right in that 2, 3, whatever, but I still think he's the same guy. I think he'll show this year. I think everything, if we have a football season, I think everything going forward, because I think the Dallas Cowboys and Zeke want to show that we are still the best running football team in the National Football. Zeke wants to show I'm still, you may say I'm third, I'm still the best running back in the National Football League. It becomes ego. And just like we're talking about it, he'll hear about this, like not leaving the game. So if he starts leaving, if he does it this year, leaves the game, then I can't protect it, because I'm just not big on players throwing their hand up. If they've had a big run, hey man, you got to stay in that game. That's part of the deal. I mean, that's what you signed up for. You signed up to play running back. You didn't kind of sign up to stand on the sidelines.
But Edie, when I look at Zeke, Zeke has never been that back like you that could go 80, that could go 90, that could go 70. Zeke is a guy 5 yard, a 6 yard, a 1 yard, a no yard, 5 yard, 8 yard, 10 yard. Zeke has never been, see, Skip is still so caught up in Zeke. Those last 4 games his sophomore season when he ran Ohio State to the national title game.
He did.
And he expected him to come do that. That's not.
Well, I saw a lot of that his rookie year. I did.
Rookie year.
Yep.
But here's the thing, though, ED, and I told him, I say Saquon is a different runner than Zeke. Saquon might go no yards, 1 yard, 85. And then at the end of the day, you look at it, he got 130 yards rushing, but Skip was like, well, he only had 1 big run. Well, what do you want? You want the big run or you want Zeke that's constantly giving you 8, 5, 6? Because they're totally different runners in that aspect. Christian McCaffrey is another guy that has home run capability. We saw him break out those 50, those 60-yard runs. We haven't seen Zeke do that. We've seen Zeke get some 20s, some 30s, but we haven't seen Zeke except that screen pass he caught in Pittsburgh, Skip. He hit his head on the goalpost from 80.
His rookie year.
Other than that, Skip,
Right?
we don't see no 50s.
And remember, last year, he had only 4 20-plus yard runs. That tied for 23rd in the league. That's just wrong. This man did run 4.4 coming out of college. He ran 4. He doesn't seem to play at 4.4 speed. I don't see the 4.4 make you miss kind of speed, but I saw a lot more quickness, speed, and elusivity as a rookie than I'm seeing now in a 4th year in which he got $90 million.
You know, and I would, you know, and that's one of the problems that I think a lot of people, when you get paid,
Yep.
and you're not playing well, or your team's not playing well, all of a sudden they bring the money, and the money becomes a factor. Always.
Well,
you know, it's not about that. You know, as a football player, you know, you have pride. You want to play well. And you're right, Shannon. Zeke was never that guy that's going to go 80 yards. I never saw that in him. If he could give you 25, 30, that's great. That one play, and I just talked about this yesterday. We haven't talked about Zeke and the big run he had in Pittsburgh. That was that, and I'm like, that was a big run.
Right.
But you don't see a lot of those. Even when I ran for 2,000 yards, go back and look. I didn't have a lot of 70 and 80-yard runs. I didn't. I had that my rookie year, but I had like the 25. But it was a grind out. Sometimes I'd have a 25, a 15, a 10. I might have another 25, but it wasn't those 60, 70 yards. Those are rare. You know, you see Saquon's that guy. He'll give you 0, 0, 3. 75, 0, 0, 25. You know, that's the guy. Zeke's not that kind of back. I mean, and I think that's what you're looking for. You're going back to his rookie season. The rookie season is over with. He's never going to be a rookie again. He's never going to have those fresh legs again, even though, to me, he is still one of the top backs in the National Football League.
All right, so here's one other ramification from what Zeke didn't do last year. I believe that Jerry Jones sat back, watched Zeke last year. I think he mostly agreed more with this premise of he was about 70%, especially of rookie year Zeke, after he got $90 million, made him the highest paid running back in pro football. And I believe Jerry started to wonder, did I overpay Zeke? And am I about to then overpay Dak even more? Because Dak's contract is, what, twice as big?
Oh, yeah,
He's
easy.
more than twice as big. So I believe psychologically, Jerry got a little gun shy watching Zeke not quite live up to $15 million a year and $90 million total. And he's thinking, man, do I want to do this again? I can't then go into double jeopardy by overpaying my quarterback, because that is salary cap hell if you do that. So I think that was operating off Zeke's quote-unquote down year last year.
Yeah, but, you know, first of all, the Cowboys had a down year. You know, they were 8-8. If they would have been 11-5 or 12-4, we probably wouldn't have this conversation. You know, they weren't that good. I mean, you might not want to say it, but they weren't a very good football team. Sometimes they say, oh, wow, they look great. And the next week, like, who's that team? And I think that's what it comes down to. If Jerry would have saw them play like they did, I'm going to go back to Zeke's rookie year. If he'd have saw that football team, and everybody was coming up, say, for a contract, I don't think Jerry would have a problem paying the interview. He'd say, hey, let's pay him. You know, everybody's playing great. And so that's what it comes down to. It's not what have you done for me 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's what have you done for me right now. And, you know, it's just been like I said, last year was a down season, and that's what it was.
Yeah. Gonna be down again.
Better be careful.
Only time will tell. Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate
Way to go,
you
EK.
coming on the show.
Thank you.
No mercy.
As NBA players have dealt with being quarantined and trying to stay in shape while preparing to head to Orlando to play in the bubble, teammates are expecting no drop-off from LeBron. Danny Green said LeBron is, quote, in the gym early, he's leaving late, and he's the last guy working. And Jared Dudley simply said that LeBron is ready for this moment. Shannon, do you like what you're hearing?
I love it, but I'm not surprised, Skip. I think the greater the athlete is, especially as he knows he's closer to the end than the beginning, he makes sure he leaves no stone unturned. He makes sure that his body is in peak condition, and he doesn't want to waste any opportunity. He's maximizing every opportunity, Skip. He's in a great position because this is not the start of the year and say, man, I hope we make the playoffs. They're there. So now let's capitalize. Let's seize this moment. This opportunity is fleeting. We don't know. And that's one thing that I remember being in those locker rooms before we were getting ready to make that playoff running, especially, Skip, at the Super Bowl. I would just remember looking around and tell the guys to look around because it'll never be like this again. You don't know if you'll get back. And I can assure you, the guys that are here right now, some of them won't be here. Some of the coaches that are here won't be here.
Yep.
So you don't waste opportunities. And LeBron James wants to make sure he's not wasting an opportunity. So I'm not surprised that he's in tip-top shape. Now, being in tip-top physical appearance shape is one thing. He's going to have to get basketball legs, but he's close. He's there. He's close. He's going to have to actually get in the game, go up and down the court, and it's going to take him a little while. But I'm not surprised that LeBron is where he is, given the circumstances and what's at stake right now.
Now, timeout. Aren't you the same guy who sat across me blasting Tom Brady for violating pandemic rules by working out in the park?
He didn't violate no rules.
And then you said, wait, he's violating NFL edict that he's practicing at a high school against the recommendations of NFL executives, right?
Dr. Fauci.
Right. And then he violated quarantine rules by going to the home of his offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, right?
Well,
Yes,
that was the second home we went to. We went to the wrong
house. But you were blasting him for fighting to practice.
Yeah.
Because he's right there with that guy. He's 43. The clock is ticking.
Whoa.
Clock is
my
ticking.
guy's not 43.
Yeah, your guy looks like he's
No, my
43.
guy's 35.
Okay. But in football years, he's actually 43.
35.
No, he's 43. So the point is that Tom Brady realizes he has an opportunity of his lifetime. He got the most weapons he's ever had in his career to go to Tampa with an opportunity to become the first team ever to play in a home Super Bowl. A home Super Bowl.
Why you doing that? Tom Brady body never looked like that. We talk about LeBron. We talk about GOAT James.
Yeah, they're different sports.
So why you bringing up Tom Brady?
The productivity of the GOAT is way beyond the faux GOATs.
Don't do that, Skip.
So here's the point. I read all these quotes. LeBron is the first in and the last to leave.
That's what is.
He better be. He's got the same kind of opportunity that Brady has in Tampa.
No, he doesn't.
His is even greater because he got the greatest break of his career. The gods intervened, the basketball gods, and they said, let there be a 5-month break at the end of your 17th season. 5 months off he just got after a great run in which I thought he actually edged ahead in the MVP race. They had a great close to what used to be the regular season. They beat Milwaukee and they beat the Clippers. They won at Zion. They were on a roll, and then they got to rest. He needed that rest.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he
Who
did.
told you that?
He did.
No, he didn't. He looking good to me.
Yeah, he did by what happened a year ago when they went 28 and 27.
That was last year. See, we don't deal with the past, Skip. We can't do. Yesterday is history. It's tomorrow that's the mystery. That's what we're preparing for, tomorrow. So we're putting ourselves in the best position possible.
What did I always call Michael Jordan? He was a supremely talented overachiever. Nobody worked any harder than that guy did.
Well, my guy does.
Okay, I got it. Well, he should. What's the opposite of that? Not work?
Yeah.
Why would you blow the opportunity?
And your guy couldn't be in the bubble. You know why? Because your guy was at the hotel and he had to go to Atlantic City. So how the hell is he going to stay in quarantine for 3 months when he couldn't stay in his hotel room for one night?
under these circumstances.
I ain't doing no under these. I'm talking about, I don't know what was
my guy would have stayed in the bubble. He would have owned the bubble. He would have been the bubble.
Whatever.
You can play golf in the bubble, so he would play golf all morning.
But you can't be
basketball the rest of the day.
You got to have social distance.
Okay.
Social distance.
Well, so the money he wins from you on the golf course, you can just leave it on the table in the 19th hole, right? Just leave it on the table, and he'll pick it up.
Skip, right? Look, this is about LeBron.
Okay.
And somehow you drug Brady.
I'm trying to show you he's doing what he should be doing.
So in other words, do you believe every other player? Do you believe Kawhi? Do you believe every other player was as intense in their training as LeBron James? A simple no or a simple yes?
I'm glad you asked that question because there's no simple answer to that one. Doc Rivers raves about Kawhi's work ethic, but he doesn't post it every other day on social.
First of all, he can't work
not on social.
First of all, he can't work out that hard because his knees knocking. So he can't train like LeBron, bounding up on boxes in a single leap. He can't do plyometrics. He can't do squats. He can't do landmine squats. He can't do all the stuff that GOAT James be doing.
I will bet you Kawhi Leonard was at it just as hard as LeBron was.
Let me ask you a question.
During the break.
Who you think Kawhi Leonard could jump higher than LeBron?
I don't know.
You think
he could? Well, how many years is he? Like 8 years younger?
And LeBron beat him down. LeBron can outrun him, can outjump him, outshoot, do everything except shoot free throws better. That's all your guy can do better than my guy.
How about mid-range jump shots? How about defending? How about it?
We defend when we need to. We defended him, didn't we?
Well,
we defended him, didn't we?
You got a great break over the Clippers because he and Paul George have only played together for 34 games. You and your guy and his new co-star, they played together 53 times.
Hold up. How them young guns? Oh, my guy 35. He looked like he's 65. How them young guns? Paul George, is Paul George 30? Is Kawhi Leonard 30? And they can't stay healthy. Can't stay on the court.
So the Clippers had their full roster together only 11 times.
How that Bron?
They needed reps. They needed to play games all the way home, and they got to play
Paul George had a hurt hamstring. He needed rest. Kawhi Leonard was load managing every other game. He needed rest. Okay. So this break was just as beneficial for them as it was LeBron.
Okay. So LeBron has the greatest this will be the easiest path to a championship LeBron has ever had in his career. And I don't want to hear any excuses from across the table because he's the first in and the last out. He's healthy. He's happy. He's got the best team. And here we go.
Keep that energy. I don't want to hear nothing about no asterisk. When we win this title, I don't want to hear nothing about no asterisk. I don't want to hear nothing about no breaks. I don't want to hear Michael Jordan would have won all his games by 72 points. I don't want to hear nothing. Crown us.
Michael Jordan played 82 9 times. Well, all 82 games.
We about to play the rest of these.
Really?
I don't know about no 82. I know about the rest of these games.
Yep. So this is going to be a fast dance to the title, right?
Yeah.
Not a last dance, a fast
No mercy.
Charles Barkley gave his top 10 list of NBA greats and did not include Shaq. Shaq, of course, took exception to this, and Barkley explained that Shaq was the most dominant big man he'd ever seen, but would still rank him outside of his top 10. Shannon, how wrong is Barkley?
It's not that crazy, Skip. When you really look at it, I got Jordan, Bron, Kareem, Wilt, Bird, Magic, Duncan, Russell. All of them in front of him. Now, that's right now. So where are you going to put KD? Where are you going to put Steph Curry when they're all said and done? Skip, I just think the thing is, as dominant as he was, he only won one MVP. Now, we can go back and forth, and we talk about the year that I think it was Steve Nash beat him out his first year at Miami.
Yep.
We can make that case, Skip, but at the end of the day, he still only has one MVP. And everybody that I got on this list in front of him has at least 3.
Shaquille O'Neal was the most dominant big man I have ever seen, which is why I got him all the way up at 3rd on my list ahead of all the other big men.
No way.
He would have destroyed anybody else, prime to prime, like Wilt. He would have destroyed him.
Skip, okay, all that being said, he got one regular season MVP for all that domination. That's all he got.
Okay, but because he was too good for his own good. They wouldn't give him MVP because it was like it was unfair. They couldn't even referee.
Let me ask you a question.
Is that an offensive foul or?
Let me ask you a question. Was it unfair from Shaq when Shaq played from 90, I think Shaq came in the league in 92, from 92 until he retired, or when Wilt played? Was it more unfair for Wilt or more unfair for Shaq?
Well, it was unfair for Will because he had nobody to guard.
But he got 4 MVPs.
Okay? I believe Shaq would have destroyed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He just wouldn't have been strong enough to deal with him.
Well, Kareem would have had 50 because he can't block the sky hook. It's the most unstoppable shot ever created.
Hey, when Shaq decided to defend,
there was no defending that.
Okay, but it could be hot and cold. You could push him out to shoot 20-footers, you know.
Yeah, he still averaged 20 and 10. He's one of the few guys that got 20 and 10.
He didn't have to deal with Shaq in his prime.
But Skip, you know, he played Will. He played Elijah Wan. It's not like he played some scrubs at center now.
Charles.
All right, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We'll be back Monday at 9:30 Eastern. Don't go anywhere because The Herd is coming up right now.